Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mig Alphany. So we have a lot of news to cover here. We're going to jump into this article here on U.Today. There's a lot of stuff happening every single day. It's crazy at this point how much is happening. This article was titled Ripple's Indian Partner Joins Digital Rupee CBDC Project. We know India has been speeding up testing of their digital rupee and a myriad of digital assets that they plan to deploy over there. But we covered this earlier in the year where they were starting with a smaller group. And then in the middle of the year, they were planning to enlarge that group a little bit more. So I'm assuming that they're well advanced in their testing of this at this particular time. But this is what the article says. It says, with new functionality supported by the Mumbai headquartered bank, which is Yes Bank, the adoption of the digital rupee will be accelerated in both private and corporate finances. Users will even be able to authorize operations in digital INR through, which is the digital rupee, through a QR code. Sound familiar? Right? Remember they were working all those offline payments for XRPL-based payment systems with QR codes, right? I'm not saying that's what this is, but it definitely lines up there, all right? It says here, Yes Bank joins Reserve Bank of India's digital rupee project. Let me just slide in there. Which bank coins are deep in India? Right? You remember? Ripple's definitely in there with XRP. Stellar's definitely deep. Is CC Bank. There's a couple other banks I believe they were working with. I'm not sure if they still are, but I haven't heard any change as of now. So Stellar is deep in India. And then Algorand. Algorand, I believe, was the last bank coin we reported on that was working with it was a few banks. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I know somebody out there definitely screenshotted that and wrote it down. But they were the ones who were working on some sort of project where they were scaling testing of deployment of digital assets within India, right? Anyway, let's continue on here. It says, Yes Bank, one of the largest banks in India, announced that it became interoperable with Unified Payments Interface, UPI, by Reserve Bank of India's digital rupee CBDC application. With this interface, thousands of Yes Bank customers will be able to send and receive transfers in digital rupees. And I think it's always going to come back to, listen, India is a big player, obviously, within the BRICS nations. What do you use to connect BRICS nation systems, whatever that's going to be, with whatever SWIFT is going to be, whatever the West is going to be deploying. And let me say this also. I don't know if I have this article here, but I told you SWIFT was going to be bending the knee. We talked about this like 2 years ago, was going to have to integrate and bend the knee to blockchain technologies. You see what they're doing right now, but don't think one dimensionally. You have to have 360 degrees of vision here, right? Have a visionary's eye. Now, yeah, are they working on some projects with Chainlink? Yes, that's just the beginning. Look where, let's take a precedent that was set. Look where the eNaira began, right? eNaira began working with, I can't remember the company. It was a company that partners with Stellar a lot, but they were working with that company. Okay, they wanted some improvements to be done, some advancements. Then they brought in who? They brought in R3. So now you have the bank and you have those two blockchain companies working together. And this is the whole concept that we were covering in the beginning of the channel of MBDCs, MCBDCs, multi-layered or multi-central bank digital currencies is all coming together. So in saying that, I wanted to just make the point that it's not out of the question for SWIFT at some point to work with Ripple. I don't know why people are writing that out. This is business, folks. I know a lot of people like to take things personally out there, but when it comes to the money game, if you're running a business, it's always business. So SWIFT doesn't take it personal. What Ripple's initial ambitions were, which was to obviously to try to take a huge swath of banks from SWIFT or supplant SWIFT, it's just a goal. But they could always do business together in the future. They could always work together in the future. And now that you see that SWIFT is willing to work with blockchain companies, who's better to move capital back and forth? Who's better positioned than Ripple right now? They have the most banks. It's between them and Quant. And I don't see Quant stepping in and say, hey, listen, let's work with SWIFT right now. They have bigger things going on right now with SIA Chain, all those hundreds of banks, Bank of England project, Quant also teaming up with Bank of International Settlements for whatever that is. I don't even recall. But so I don't see them stepping in. So right now, the most well-positioned one is Ripple. Just my humble opinion. So I'm just throwing out there because we got all this bank information happening. These are facts, by the way, folks. You can always look this up, as you know that. Let's continue on here. It says, as per an article of the Economic Times, an Indian financial media outlet, this integration will be of paramount importance for the digital rupee product development, testing, and adoption. Now, let's pause here. This is a Ripple partner. Let's make that clear. So if they're sitting on that technology, obviously they're going to deploy. If they used it and tested it, they're going to deploy it at some point. I think that would be logical. No bank or no big business is in the game to commit to something and then just let it fall by the wayside. I just don't see that happening. But I think what's happening, we're seeing they're gearing up for a strategic release. These people don't say things for no reason at all. Now, listen, it sounds comical and it may sound outlandish to people to say, oh, flip of the switch. But if you have so many executives talking about a flip of the switch moment, which makes perfect sense to me when you have to have an entire network, at least a good portion of it, I won't say the entire thing, but a good portion of it come online at the same time, then definitely that could be perceived as a flip of the switch moment. You need a good amount of entities participated in the network for it to function at its full capacity. Not only that, but the capital, you need massive amounts of capital to flood so that there's proper what? Liquidity. Folks, let me tell you something right now. There's a liquidity problem everywhere. We've covered it for a long time, correct? All right, so they need the proper liquidity. And another piece that I'm throwing a lot of pieces out here. You tell me what you think in the comment section below. I appreciate all you being here, by the way. But and here's another big thing I'm gonna throw in there. If you have that proper liquidity with a flip of the switch moment, if they actually go with that, and it looks like that's what they're setting up, folks. Look at all these banks they have lined up, and yet, we're just hearing little news here and there. So when does the big news happen? Do they drip that in too, or do they do it all at once? I think they're building up for a flip of the switch moment. Everybody starts using it and providing liquidity at the same time. I think that seems logical, but this is just my humble opinion. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, right? But if they provide sufficient liquidity, this is where a lot of people are going to come up with a little bit higher prices. Listen, I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. Whatever you think is going to happen, that's what you have to plan for yourself. How you want to liquidate things and how long you want to hold, if you even hold that's completely up to you. But that liquidity aspect is why some people believe that the price could be a little bit higher. So now let's move on to this article here. This article here is from the cryptobasic.com and it's titled Ripple Bursts SEC's claim of XRP has no intrinsic value in court filing. They've been cooking as of late. We got a lot of news today, folks. It says Ripple's chief legal officer, Stuart Alderati, recently encouraged XRP enthusiasts to view the recent action against the U.S. regulator. In particular, he referenced a section where Ripple countered the Securities and Exchange Commission's claim that XRP has no intrinsic value. Pro-XRP attorney Bill Morgan shared parts of the content of Ripple's reply with the XRP community. Here's the tweet from Bill Morgan. It says, my favorite too. I have been banging on about the SEC comment that XRP has no inherent value all week. Glad Ripple attorneys addressed it. No such finding by the judge. Not relevant to the how we test anyway. So then why did they do it? You see how that FUD, see how they attack you psychologically? There's always an aspect of psychological warfare if you're going to battle someone. Understand that. So they just threw that out there. It didn't even serve a purpose in court, as you just heard a very esteemed lawyer say. Psychological warfare, always be aware of that and protect your mind at all costs. I mean, you can do what you want, but I always would protect my mind at all costs. Right? It says here, no such finding by the judge, not relevant to the how we test anyway, and irrelevant to whether XRP use gives it value, which it does. Right? It says Ripple counters SEC claim, next section. It says recall that the regulator argued that XRP was merely a computer code in its motion seeking interlocutory appeal. The SEC claimed it was not seeking permission to appeal that XRP was a software code with no intrinsic value. Meanwhile, in the reply filing, Ripple argued that the SEC was greatly mistaken. Ripple reaffirmed that the U.S. court did not rule that XRP has no inherent value. Quote, the court made no such ruling, unquote, Ripple legal team proclaimed. Moreover, the payment firm went on to clarify that XRP is a bridge virtual asset for facilitating intercontinental transactions. What type? we all know is wholesale CBDC. That's their specialty. That's their crux. That's big money. I always keep that on my mind. That's why I say that all the time. I'm here for that money. It says the team highlighted the court's exact wording that XRP is a digital asset that does not satisfy Howey's requirements. The document read in part, quote, the court found that XRP token is not in itself an investment contract because it does in itself meet Howey's requirements. It says Ripple's intent for counter appeal. Notably, Ripple proclaimed its intention for cross appeals in a recent filing against the SEC. In particular, Ripple stated that if SEC's bid for interim appeal is approved, it will simultaneously take steps to file cross appeals. Among the rulings Ripple intends to review is the judgment related to institutional sales of XRP. Okay, we're going to leave off there. Once again, cryptobasic.com if you want to read the rest of that article there. So now let's move on here. We're keeping a good pace. We had a little time off, but I feel like we're cooking today. That's how I feel. You guys doing good out there? You cooking? You having a good weekend? I bet you are. All right. So now this article here, very interesting article. I know already people are like, you better not do a price prediction. Well, this is more of an explanation of a particular price that has been getting brought up over the last few years. All right. This is from cryptonews.net. And I like it. This is from cryptonews.net. And this article is about, the $10,000 XRP price discussion. I wouldn't even say prediction, right? Because we've heard certain aspects as to how it was designed and what price it was designed to be, right? At its max, if everything goes according to plan. This is what we've heard. I'm not saying that that's where it's going to go. First bullet point says XRP was designed to be a bridge for central bank digital currencies. That's important when you're thinking about price, because that's big money, huge. That's trillions of dollars, right? Even if you take a little percentage of that, that would skyrocket XRP's price if it could do that, right? It says making its role crucial in the future financial ecosystem. Next bullet point. The limited supply of XRP tokens may not be sufficient for handling transactions at low prices. I've been saying, well, I want to take just a piece of that sentence and say, I've been saying for a long time, there's not enough bank coins to go around. There's not. Look at all the capital in the world. What they're trying to do is very ambitious, but is there a possibility that maybe they bite off a little bit more than they can chew, and there's not enough of them to go around? Yes. Could they become rare over time? In time, could they become rare? Yes, they could. But let's continue on. You've heard a lot of my thoughts before. It says the limited supply of XRP tokens may not be sufficient for handling global transactions at low prices, giving weight to the $10,000 plus price prediction. Next bullet point. The $10,000 plus XRP scenario is based on its foundational purpose and isn't merely speculation. And that's what I think they're trying to get across in this article. The financial markets have always thrived on speculation, conjecture, and the promise of potential is often the subject of significant debate among investors and analysts. One discussion that refuses to die down is the possibility of XRP reaching a staggering price of $10,000 or more. And no, it's not mere fantasy. There's a plausible argument that backs this ambitious forecast. XRP was fundamentally designed to be a bridge for central bank digital currencies as the world moves toward a digital financial system. CBDCs are becoming increasingly relevant, requiring a bridge currency. That is key, especially with the BRICS nations rising. And anyone who may not be a part of the West or BRICS nations, I don't know who is not, but usually the countries are a part of some sort of faction. But you're going to need something to connect all of these systems. And also, I'll say this, with everyone moving towards transacting in local currencies, you're going to need even more bridge currencies. I'll say this, and it may not be what Ripple set out to do, because I know they wanted to go after the big money initially solely, but there is a lot of capital to scrape up, even if you're connecting a lot of those local currency systems. All the systems are going to have something different. Understand that they're going to be customized, so they're going to need interoperability. This is why the XRPL stands to win so big if they do everything right in this next few years. Quant, Stellar, that interoperability is huge. We read a few documents that came out from the Bank of International Settlements recently complaining about the lack of interoperability in a lot of systems, correct? All right, I know you read those documents. I know you did. It says, consider the limitations of supply. There are currently around 100 billion XRP tokens in existence. While that may seem like a lot, let's not forget we're talking about serving as the bridge for all global transactions involving CBDCs. Now, listen, I don't think we need to do every single transaction. I don't. For XRP's price to skyrocket. Where does it go? Who's to know? But it could definitely go higher than where it is right now. And I don't think we need all global transactions in order to do that. We just need to take a good swath of them. That's it. A good modicum of them. And you will see magic happen if that occurs. Suddenly, the number isn't so big. Doesn't seem so big, does it? It says hashtag XRP was designed to settle CBDCs. There are not enough XRPs out there to bridge all the money at a price of $10. This is from someone named Lord XRP, September 2nd, 2023. It says, in such a scenario, a price point of merely $10 per XRP would fall drastically short of providing the liquidity. And that's, see, and I'm glad they said that. And it's more, see, it's more exacerbated. The need for liquidity is more exacerbated because there's a liquidity crisis happening right now. They're rapidly pulling money out of all economies. That's what raising the interest rates is doing. Then you saw, I've been showing you, I showed a few times in a variety of videos, the crunch with the M2 money supply. Make no mistake about it, folks. They're going to try to feed you this recession nonsense now because they can't get away from it. People are beginning to see, but it's not a recession. It's a light depression, if not a deep depression for some people, right? The last time people made this type of money and yet still had a struggle for affordability of just living was in the Great Depression and in the other three depressions that were noted. Historically speaking, this is a depression, folks, and they're going to continue to raise interest rates as far as what I can see, because there's just not enough. More people have to lose their jobs. They openly said that, correct? I mean, look, things can change, but because of that, there is more of a liquidity problem to come than there is now. All right. And let's not even get into, once again, the commercial real estate problems. Now, with the commercial real estate problems, they've been trying a variety of things. You know, they're trying to make them into apartments and such. And now what did I say before? I said that if they wanted to sell a lot of these different companies that can't move this property, that they would have to sell at a loss. And they've been selling at a loss. I saw one company, I believe the article said that company sold at a 43% loss. Not everybody's going to do that. There's no way. There's no way. So then that does what to the banks? That's putting extra stress on the banks. The banks have to tighten up lending. But then how do you collect on that, right? How do you collect on that if there's nobody, if there's no profit being made? You see what I'm saying? So now the banks have extra stress on them. Not only that, but they've been tightening up regulations on the banks, what the banks have not been happy about. By the way, I wouldn't be happy about it either. But they've been tightening up regulations, or at least attempting to, on the banks. I mean, the banks are under tremendous stress. So once again, liquidity is a massive problem. Also, I'll throw in there that there's the possibility coming up of more banks collapsing. This is why you hear in where was it? With credit, the whole credit. The whole Credit Suisse thing, where they're telling banks over there, hey, you need to tighten things up, right? And I believe somebody leaked that information and they were telling them, hey, keep that quiet, right? That people didn't keep it quiet enough. But there's a possibility globally more banks can go down, but just particularly in the United States, keep an eye on the banks. Things have not been going well. So it says, to sum it up, the argument for a $10,000 plus XRP isn't born out of thin air, but arises from its foundational purpose. As countries continue to explore and adopt CBDCs, the need for a highly liquid bridge currency will only become more pressing. And XRP, with its unique design and purpose, is poised to fill that role like no other. So, so we're going to leave it off there. Once again, cryptonews.net. Let's move on here. I wanted to cover this article here, and we might close out with this one here, right? I don't want to make this video too long. But I found this article interesting because it's from newsbtc.com. Now, as of recent, this is a Bitcoin website, right? Primarily newsbtc. They've been very, very negative towards XRP in some articles, some, not all, right? So, I mean, I find it very surprising what they're saying here when it comes to XRP. It says, I hope I said that right. They were negative towards XRP. I believe that's what I said. My apologies if I did not. It says medium-term XRP price prediction for 2024, 2025. Now, I was going to skip this article because I'm thinking to myself, oh, man, it's just going to be another hit piece on XRP. And I was shocked. Once again, I'm going to tell you, I said this in the last video. When you have Bitcoin people becoming bullish on XRP or another asset, you know that asset definitely is on fire, is on fire, is ready for launch, whatever other phrases you could fit in there. Now it says here, it says if XRP can continue with its bullish market, then 2024 and 2025 could see the final move in the first major bull market sequence. This is News BTC saying this. It says Elliott wave principle believes that bull markets move in what's called a motive wave, which is a 5-wave upward sequence where odd numbered moves are in the direction of the primary trend, while even numbered moves move against the trend. Corrections are typically labeled as ABC, unless the correction is a triangle, in which it is labeled A, B, C, D, and E. More complex corrections can evolve over time. Triangles represent the consolidation before the final thrust in a sequence. Now let's get to the good parts that really surprised me, because I thought they were going to just trash XRP's price, and they did not. It says price projections put XRP above $10. This is News BTC. Put XRP above $10, between $14 and $17. We just had another Bitcoin. We had a Bitcoin whale saying that they were accumulating XRP the whole time it was down. Things are getting interesting, folks. It says, depending on momentum and supporting environment. Okay, let's scroll down, see if they have a little bit more here. All right, they have a section here titled Long-Term XRP Price Prediction for 2030. Like I said, I'm in here for the long haul, folks, so I'll be here to see where it's all going to end. It says XRP's long-term forecast is a lot more difficult to predict using traditional technical analysis techniques. In this case, we've chosen to draw a price mean through years of price action in an attempt to project a linear trend line. Peaks and troughs would occur above and below the mean, providing the potential for mean reversion trades. The trajectory puts XRP, listen to this, the trajectory puts XRP upwards of $20 per coin. In the future, if the mean line is accurate. I like what they're saying. This is very shocking, in my humble opinion, that they would write such a thing. But good job, News BTC. You see, when you're looking at the data and you start to think and you're like, wait a minute. They have all of these bullish partnerships. They've done so well, and they really haven't even gotten started yet. Nothing's really kicked off yet. The rocket didn't launch. The party didn't get started yet. We're still at the beginning. That's just how it is, just the truth. And so you start looking at all that, and no matter how much a person wants to be in denial, if they look at the facts, they do the research, you start to see, like, wait a minute, this thing's definitely going to go somewhere. I don't know where, but it's going higher than where it is now, right? You just can't deny it. So let's see if we have one more. We might do one more here. We'll come back tomorrow with the regular form, diverse video where we're covering a lot of different cryptos and a lot of different economic information. Okay. I just want to get a nice little start here since we took a few days off. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.